So today Zoe wants to talk about our pants. But first let me introduce the video. This is about our winter clothing, what you should be looking at when you're looking at winter clothing, what we personally wear and what we use. It's a total minefield and everyone has their own sort of methods, but if you watch our channel you know that we go out in all sorts of temperatures and weathers, so we feel like we've got it kind of sussed, don't we?
Yeah, we seem comfortable in most weathers now, so we might as well start as if you're naked. First thing to consider
hang on then.
is your pants, obviously, and I say this jokingly because Gareth actually has some pants that he refuses to wear when he's hiking because they either fall down or the elastic's in the wrong place or they ride up, don't they, and chafe or whatever. So you do have to consider your underwear, make sure that it's comfortable, it's something you can wear long term for a long day walking.
Yeah, to be honest, I do like my leather thong when I'm hiking. That would chafe, wouldn't it? I have some just comfy camo pants. They're nothing special, but they are really comfy for hiking. And yeah, I've had some that ride up your butt crack, and it's just sorry to be blunt, but pants are, you know, one of the most important things to start with.
If you're uncomfortable all day, it's horrible.
Socks as well, like
socks.
Winter socks. I've got some thick Snugpak Merino socks, and they're padded, they're warm, and they're comfy. So get those two bits right first and foremost.
Yeah, I'm saying merino socks because they're wicking as well, which obviously is good. If your feet do end up getting wet or anything, they don't get cold, which is a plus to wearing them. Always take those out in winter.
So this is the thing about wool stuff. If you can have totally wet feet and you'd still be warm, and where if you're wearing cotton socks, it's cold and horrible and clammy, whereas you wouldn't necessarily know you've got wet feet with thick merino socks on. Once that water warms up, it's not much different, but hopefully you won't get wet feet. But
even cotton socks are sweaty though, aren't they? Everybody knows that once they're damp, they stay damp and they're uncomfortable. So
yeah, so right, so now we've got our underwear
bits out
of the way with. Let's start base layers. Now your base layer kind of forms an important job role of not keeping you warm but wicking away the moisture from your skin. So if you're wearing cotton, that absorbs it and it's very hard to dry as well, especially when it's under other layers.
I've got a friend who wore a cotton t-shirt going hiking for the first time, and he was lovely while he was down the bottom, nice and sunny, warm and dry, got hot and sweaty walking up. By the time he got to the top, it was absolutely freezing because his t-shirt was wet. So cotton's just a no-go, isn't it?
That wasn't me.
It wasn't you, no. I did say friend.
So
you're more than a friend.
Oh, thanks. So what I personally use, just start with me. Can I go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
Right, so this is a Snugpak long sleeve Coolmax top. I've got one on there. So what this is it's Coolmax, if you don't know, it's kind of a really, really breathable fabric that wicks moisture away, but it doesn't absorb the moisture, if that makes sense. So if you are sweating, which you do even if you're not exerting yourself, your skin still excretes sweat. Sounds a bit minging, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it keeps you dry, and keeping yourself dry is important to keeping yourself warm, especially in winter. I mean, even in summer I wear a short sleeve t-shirt version, and on my legs in winter I've got some long johns as well. So I would typically wear them underneath a pair of trousers. You know, it depends what I'm doing with my layering, but certainly on my top half, I mean, to a certain extent you can neglect your bottom half a little bit because you don't feel the cold as much as you do. But I'm not saying neglect anything, but you know, top half first and foremost, because that's where all your important organs are. Well, most of them. One's a bit down, one's a bit lower.
Stop now. Yeah, I mean, I'm the same wicking kind of material, very important. I tend to buy little cycling tops or like gym tops just because Snugpak tops are too big and army tops are too big on me.
I mean, look for gym tops.
Material,
I've got one from Primark before.
That's a gym, isn't it?
And it was about $2.99. It's just, you know, it's a gym top.
Just black t-shirt, isn't it? Yeah.
It wasn't cotton. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
It was that. I say mesh. You can't see through it unless you hold it up to the light. So you're not going to see your nipples sticking through or anything. But sorry. But it's really, really good material. I love it.
Yeah, it stays dry. That's the most important thing, isn't it? It's breathable and dry, and that's what your base layer kind of, for us, definitely wouldn't wear anything else really. And then I'm the same, next layer up, I tend to buy Isotherm tops. These are from like Mountain Warehouse, just long sleeve top. Again, sort of wicking, breathable material. Not too heavy, but keeps you a little bit warmer and base layer leggings, exactly the same material, so none of it absorbs moisture.
I mean, Isotherm is kind of the synthetic version of Merino, kind of, isn't it?
Sort of, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Zoe's had a lot of Merino leggings and tops and found that the fabric after a while has gone a bit bobbly.
It took quite a while, to be fair, but I just can't cope with the bobbles, but it lasted a couple of years. But...
So that's our skin, next to our skin base layer sort of material, and we're going to move on to the next layer up now. Alright, so next up we're just going to quickly cover our legs. So 2 trains of thought for me personally on my legs. So one, as I said, is Coolmax long johns, underneath some lightweight sort of regatta or crag hopper hiking trousers. They've got a bit of a stretch one way, so when you're putting your legs over, you know, climbing up rocks and stuff, they stretch with you, which is good and comfortable. That's a warm combination, but if it's really, really bitter and there's, you know, a bit of rain in the air and I don't want to be wearing waterproofs at this point, I'll wear Softshell trousers. I mean, these aren't mega expensive. These was about £25 off Amazon. So what it is a Softshell sort of outer with a micro fleece liner. They're really warm and they are to a certain extent waterproof. I mean, if it was really lashing it down, you'd want to be putting waterproof trousers over the top. But yeah, they're good trousers and they are really warm in crappy weather. And so yeah, it's one of those two systems or a combination of both. It all comes down to what the weather's doing and how sort of brutal the wind is and snow and stuff like that. So yeah, that's me. Fire.
It's the same thing with girls can get hold of like those soft shell trousers. I just cannot abide wearing trousers. Bought some, sent them back, just can't cope with them. So normally I do gym leggings because they're breathable and wicking moisture, but they're a bit cold for in winter. Rubbish really, so you've got to kind of put a base layer underneath, so you put the Isotherm underneath those for winter. The other combination I use is some water resistant leggings that I bought. These are stretchy too, quite nice because they're easy to move in, do keep a bit of the wind off, and they are waterproof to a degree, though not if it's torrential rain, but it's that kind of level before it actually starts really raining heavy and you want to put your actual waterproofs on. So that's my 2 systems.
Yeah, bottom line is avoid anything with cotton in it. I mean, I've got some crag upper kiwi, which I think are 50-50 polyester, 50% cotton. They're alright, and they are quick drying, but nowhere near as quick drying as my regatta lightweight hiking trousers. And like I say, that Coolmax material doesn't absorb the water, so even if you do get wet, your body heat is going to dry them really quickly. But I mean, if it was lashing it down, I would put waterproof trousers over the top. So yeah, avoid that cotton. Right, so moving on to our gorgeous bodies now. This is the nitty and gritty of how we keep warm, not only when we're hiking to a location, but also when you get to camp. You've got to remember you'll be a lot warmer when you're hiking with a rucksack on than what you would stood around or on camp or sat in your tent, especially when it's like in minus figures. So for hiking, Softshell from Snugpak. It packs down small. I would say it's shower resistant. I've been out in plenty of showers. Prolonged rain, no, but it's small and light, and it's got a thermal suede lining. So what this is good for is one, being breathable when you're hiking, but keeping the wind and rain off you, and that generally keeps me cool enough when I'm hiking. So I get hot really quickly when I'm hiking, so I'm just taking all my clothes off, not all my clothes if the police are watching. So that's a really good sort of I don't know what layer we would call it, a mid layer.
It's a mid layer really, isn't it?
But if I'm around on camp, I mean something like a SJ3 jacket, which is synthetic insulation. I mean, you can get these up to an SJ12, I think, that does down to -20 or something. They are packable. It goes down to the size of my down jacket, which brings me on to my down jacket. If it's really cold, I choose this Decathlon down jacket because it's pretty warm, down to -10. But in a combination with other layers, you can probably get away with -20 if you had to. You know, just layering up different layers. But it's comfy and it doesn't feel like it restricts you at all.
No.
I feel like I can do a bit of a dance and yeah, it's good. 60 quid I think it was.
Yeah.
Bargain.
Yeah.
It is a bargain when you're out on a snowy hill and you're still warm. So
It is.
Yeah.
That's the dilemma. Generally speaking, I'm slightly different to what Gareth uses. I tend to wear my Isotherm sort of like long sleeve top as one of my mid layers, and then quite often I'll just wear like my down jacket. But if I'm hiking, I can't cope with that on because it's too warm. So sometimes I take like a really lightweight fleece because obviously they don't absorb water either. Generally don't wear them when I'm hiking, but more when you're like on what I'd call a static camp. Like if you're hiking sort of to the woodlands and then it's not a very long walk, you're not going to get too hot. I'll put a fleece on. You don't like fleeces, do you? You find you overheat a bit much in them, but I'm a bit colder, whereas a lot of women are.
Yeah,
so we can usually manage to walk in them.
One point I want to make that Zoe's just touched on is your moisture in your insulation. So she says she avoids walking in her down jacket. I do too. Not only will I get too hot, but you don't want to be filling your insulation with moisture from your body because then it won't perform well in sub-zero temperatures. So if you can, have something separate like a jacket that you're hiking in as to what you'll be wearing on camp, keeping you warm.
Yeah, that's what we always do.
If you've been sweating in your insulation, it's going to hold a certain amount of that moisture. I mean, yes, it will breathe to a certain extent, but it can also retain it as well, so it's something to bear in mind.
Yeah, then it's just that it depends on how extreme the weather is. If it's not too cold, then I go for the XJ. I mean, this is still a really warm jacket, but I mean not absolutely freezing, shaking kind of weather. I will wear that one on camp. If it's bitterly freezing cold, then I go to my down jacket.
Yeah, I mean,
that's warmer.
I think that's the Snugpak jacket's rated down to freezing, and that's -10 for the down jacket.
Yeah,
so
and I tend to feel the cold quite a lot, so
it's just different clothes for different temperatures. Just like sleeping bags, really. I suppose.
You can't really just do one thing. We do have different combinations that we take out, really.
But what we do know is when you finish walking, about after 10 minutes after you've stopped,
shiver.
You start getting cold. So then it's time to put your warm stuff on.
I'm definitely quicker than you with that. As soon as I stop walking and cool down very quickly, you'll still be wandering around in your t-shirt for a bit.
I've been on a snowy camp and I've just been in my t-shirt in the snow and I was too warm because, as I said, I get really warm when I'm hiking. So for sort of 10-15 minutes after I've stopped, I'm absolutely boiling, and then I'll put my insulation on.
I'm the opposite. I'm kind of like, while I'm warm, I'll keep warm, I'll put everything on. So, but it works for both of us, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So finally, you want your last layer, which is obviously your waterproof layer. Waterproof trousers, necessity for the bottom half. Top half, tend to have a few variants again, depending on the weather. If I'm going out and it's not going to be too bad weather, I'll probably take like just a lightweight, kind of breathable jacket that packs down really, really small. If I know I'm going to be out and I've looked at the weather forecast and it's just going to rain the whole weekend,
then we stay home.
Yeah, no, we don't. Then something that's quite budget friendly, to be honest, is a Goretex jacket. Easy to find on eBay, there's loads of them about. You just can't go wrong, they just never leak, do they? So had those, camped in those loads in snow and rain and all sorts.
Yeah, we've done a lot of hiking in those in snow.
Yeah, you can
things.
Hike in them as well because they're big and spacious, aren't they?
They're one of those things that are like really, really reliable, and you know you're going to be alright when you got your Goretex jacket on.
I mean, they're not the most packable, I suppose, compared to some modern day things, but they are 100% reliable. And I think when you're up on top of a mountain and you know you're staying there for a couple of days, you kind of need reliability. And then finally, when it's really, really cold and I need waterproof and warmth, go straight to the Snugpak jackets, which is the Torrent jacket. This is really highly insulated and waterproof, and I can't remember what degrees it goes down to, can you?
I think that's -10 rated.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous, and it is unbelievably warm. I know girls tend to feel cold more than men generally, so if you are cold and you're camping like this, okay, it costs a bit of money, but it is well worth the investment. It was like one of the best things that I own for keeping me warm. I can just stay out, especially some days we go out filming as well, not even hiking, and we're just standing around filming products and things like that, and I find that brilliant because I'm really cold and I'm stood still. So that's one of my favourite pieces of equipment in the winter.
Right, mine is basically the same. So waterproof trousers that are covered in muck because I haven't washed them from last time.
That's why I didn't bring mine down, because they were covered in mud.
Do you know what? These are Aldi motorcycle or cycling trousers, and I've had them for years, and they've never leaked. So I had to super glue up the crotch area once because where the four seams join, it came, I just can't be bothered sewing, so super glue one out. Army Goretex jacket. Love this. Massive hood, so just keeps you really dry. Love it. And like you say, well, like you say, you can hike in it because with it being Goretex, it's breathable. So done done mountain camps in the snow in these, and yeah, kept us dry and everything. They're not insulated at all, so
but they are long and big and cover you up a lot.
long and big, you heard it, yeah. And then again a Torrent Extreme, but in green. So these aren't cheap, like Zoe said, but they're as warm as a down jacket, but also waterproof.
It's like wearing a sleeping bag and just walking about in it. It's so warm.
It is. If I was going out on a really, really cold camp, like -15, -20, I would probably take this,
Yeah.
but because it's not as packable as my down jacket and stuff, I couldn't walk in this, I don't think, because
No, it's too warm.
I just get too warm now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a comfort of -5, they're saying, a temp low of -10, but we've been out in -10 in these, and I've been too warm, just wearing a Coolmax underneath. And something we both wear, if we're low down, it's not too windy, we'll both use a poncho, because not only can you sit on them and wet grass, they just cover your bag, they're easy to put on and off without having to take your rucksack off.
But I had it on the last rainy camp in the woods we did.
We've had these for years. They've just
Yeah.
But yeah, you can make shelters out of them, all sorts, string them up between trees, they're just so versatile. Not so keen in strong winds because it's...
Yeah, that's the downside of them, but they're fantastic in summer when it's too hot and you want the rain, aren't they? But we do use them in winter as well.
Yeah. So just to sum up really, avoid cotton, everything needs to be breathable. I mean, it's not, I won't lie, it's not the cheapest thing kitting yourself out for winter,
No.
because you need proper technical equipment if you're going to use the extremes.
But you've got to think of the long term, haven't you? It's worth the investment. If you're somebody who's going to camp all year round frequently, then it's definitely worth the investment.
I mean, I'll tell you what is a good buy actually, is these Softshell jackets. I mean, like the Amazon sort of 20-30 quid, something like that. They've got a fleece liner. I mean, they're not the smallest pack size, are they?
No.
So my Snugpak Softshell packs down tiny, so I generally take that when I'm hiking, but I have been hiking on camps with these.
I've been with mine. I've got one from Mountain Warehouse actually, and I love it. I do hike in that one.
And again, these have got a massive hood with a good peak over the top. They're quite well kitted out, hip zips, pockets everywhere, and cheap as well.
Yeah.
But as I say, it's not quite as packable. So these are good for hiking, and if you're out on a day hike and you expect a bit of rain, I mean, they're not as waterproof as what like a Goretex jacket will be, because I think they're marketed as shower proof rather than so. But yeah, been out in plenty of rain. They're comfortable. They're reasonably warm.
Yeah, I like mine. I've hiked in mine quite a lot actually.
Again, I'm getting too warm again. So
So it's taking girls on and off.
yeah, so avoid that cotton and just buy it bit by bit. I mean, it's not impossible to do it cheap, but you find that the cheaper things tend to be bigger pack size. So
Yeah, another thing that we sort of forgot to mention was actually boots. It's kind of like, don't go out in trainers in winter. We had a friend that's done that, and they have wet feet, and it's not nice and comfortable, is it? So try and make sure you get some kind of like waterproof boots. If you're going out in winter, keep your feet dry and warm, you're going to feel a lot more comfortable.
yeah, I mean, we've just both started using leather boots this year, especially with winter in mind, because you can wax the hell out of them. So it keeps them. That wax in itself keeps a certain degree of waterproofness, and it's cheaper than keep Fabsil in them and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's another good thing to do for your winter kit, is just Fabsil the hell out of everything. Then if you do,
Anyway, yeah.
if you do get a shower and you've not had time to put your waterproofs on, it does bead off.
Yeah.
But obviously it doesn't last through the wash. So and that's another thing with our technical clothing. We never wash it with wash powder. It just goes through a plain water wash with no softener, no detergent or anything, and that preserves the durable waterproof repellent and you know, any tick deterrents that the fabric's got built in and stuff like that. So yeah, avoid using wash powder on your technical equipment. Really, don't sling it through with all your other stuff, and certainly don't use fabric softener on it. So I think we've covered everything we use.
Yeah, I hope that's helpful too. If you have any questions, just kind of pop them down and we'll answer them if you're confused about anything. But I'm sure everybody will find their own methods. It's just kind of knowing what sort of things to look. You can choose your own brands and things, but that's just a general outlay of like what we do and what works well for us.
So just remember, comfy pants first.
Yeah.